It's Tuesday, the 14th of June, 2022. Welcome to the Fast Five by Fear and Greed, where we give you the top 5 business stories you need to know about in just 5 minutes. I'm Michael Thompson, and good morning, Sean Aylmer.
Good morning, Michael.
Sean, 5 stories in 5 minutes. Let's get into it. Story number 1, the national energy crisis is worsening, with fears that parts of Queensland would go into blackout last night, and then concerns about New South Wales this evening.
That's right, and the National Energy Market Operator has directed electricity generators in Queensland to switch on plants to avoid blackouts. They'd gone off after the introduction of a cap on prices in the state left some generators unprofitable. The Australian Energy Market Operator forced generators to continue to meet consumer demand. New South Wales will be the focus today, with peak load expected between 6 p.m. and 10:30 p.m. tonight. Now, the AEMO has also activated what's known as the Reliability and Emergency Reserve Trader Scheme, basically a scheme that rewards users for saving energy. It's called on all users in New South Wales and Queensland to conserve energy. The crisis has been driven by the failure of several coal-fired power stations due to technical faults and coal supply issues. AGL's Bayswater generator in the Hunter Valley in New South Wales and the Loy Yang A generator in Victoria are all operating below capacity. At the same time, demand has surged due to cold temperatures. There is no quick fix here. We basically need people to conserve power and hope that the weather warms up a bit and demand declines.
Sean, on to story number 2. Not great news for crypto investors. Digital currencies aren't having a good time of it at the moment.
No, Bitcoin yesterday hit its lowest level since December 2020 and is trading just over $25,000 a unit, having dipped below that level around lunchtime yesterday. It's down 45% this year and 62% since its peak in October last year. A bunch of smaller cryptos were also sold off. Solana, Cardano, Dogecoin and Avalanche all suffered double-digit drops yesterday. Now, the reason Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies have fallen so much is that inflation and interest rates are rising, and investors don't like risky assets when the economic outlook is so clouded.
Okay, story number 3, Sean. If you've ever bought a house, you will know just how big stamp duty can be. And now we're hearing that New South Wales wants to replace stamp duty on houses with a land tax, but they need a bit of help from Canberra.
That's right. It would be a major reform, not just for New South Wales, but all states, because it would likely lead to other jurisdictions doing the same thing or at least considering changes. Stamp duty, as you say, is a major cost when buying a house. On $1 million home in New South Wales, it's about $43,000. If you have a 20% deposit of $200,000, stamp duty at $43,000 is a huge chunk of money. New South Wales Premier Dominic Perrottet said he'd unveil a bunch of tax changes in the state's budget next week, aiming at improving housing affordability. Under proposals reported in the Sydney Morning Herald, new home buyers would choose whether they paid stamp duty or an annual land tax on their home. Now, Mr. Perrottet said he needed help from Canberra, though, to fund the proposal. Not surprising, given total stamp duty for this financial year in New South Wales is expected to be $13.4 billion. Any changes could leave a massive hole in the budget.
Sean, story number 4. There's a fantastic story recently where Bubs Australia, which is an Australian company, obviously, US President Joe Biden thanked them for helping solve the infant formula shortage in the US. And now Bubs is expanding its physical presence over there.
Yeah, it sort of certainly got lucky. Bubs products will be available in more than 4,000 stores across the US after it did a deal with the supermarket chain. The Kroger Co. is one of them, and Albertsons is the name of the other one. The first 747 air cargo flight, filled with nearly 300 pallets of Bubs formula, left Melbourne over the weekend, and another flight is due to leave tomorrow. The surge in demand for Bubs products came after a contamination scare at a major producer in Michigan. Bubs share price jumped 8% on Friday, but in the past 4 weeks, ever since Joe Biden announced that they'd be using Bubs Australia formula in the US, its share price has doubled. Incredible story.
It is. And Sean, I don't know whether you heard that 747 flight actually hit a bit of turbulence on the way over. All that baby formula made one big milkshake.
Oh, dear.
I'm sorry.
Moving on.
We will move on. Final story, Sean. Story number 5. We all know how important sports rights are for broadcasters. They're critical for Australian broadcasters, but the numbers that are being thrown around for the rights to cover the Indian Premier League are just sensational.
Yes, Indian Premier League is the one-day cricket tournament which includes players from all the major cricket-playing nations. According to a report on Bloomberg, bidding for broadcast rights for the next 5 years has hit $5.8 billion US dollars, or more than 8.2 billion Aussie dollars. The bidders include some of the biggest media companies in the world, Walt Disney, Sony Group and Viacom. It is a massive event, and so are the numbers being thrown around in terms of broadcast rights.
Yeah, that is an incredible story. That's it, the top 5 business stories in 5 minutes. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you, Michael.
It's Tuesday, the 14th of June, 2022. Remember to hit follow on the podcast, and if 5 minutes isn't enough, you can find our longer daily show called Fear and Greed wherever you listen to podcasts, as well as a few interviews, including today we're looking at investing in international stocks. I'm Michael Thompson, and that was the Fast 5 by Fear and Greed. Have a great day.